So as I would assume most of you know, TF2 is an FPS game released back in 2007, well known for its engaging gameplay, mountains of personality, and funny hats.
Batman Fortnite.
And that you probably also know the game has been neglected for about a quarter of its life, spending most of that time suffering from a botting crisis due to said neglect, which as of writing is currently fixed. But, you know, give it time. Now, in this situation, you may be wondering what you can do about it. The gamers are starving because there's no juicy content to game with. Well, the solution is simple. Add in the content yourself. TF2 has its roots in modding, so it makes sense for it to be freely moddable. Stuff like maps, cosmetics, and community servers hosting unique game modes. All of this has become the lifeblood of TF2 nowadays. Literally, since anytime the holidays come around, the Valve janitor is given the special job of going through the workshop and putting all the content that the TF2 community has approved of and officially added to the game. And for the most part, the TF2 community has been content with this. But we can go deeper. Everything I've just mentioned is just the surface of what the TF2 community can do. Things get very interesting when you look at full-fledged TF2 mods. Projects that take the foundation of TF2 and turn it into its own unique experience. And there is two mods that I would like to highlight in this video. Starting off with a Certified Hood Classic. TF2 Classic originally released right at the end of 2014, but it really started getting traction in early 2020, with its main goal being to reimagine the TF2 experience at launch, which becomes very clear when you take a look at the loadout screen. First of all, there are no hats. Second of all, the weapon selection is way more cut back than vanilla. Most of the mercenaries only have 2 or 5 options besides their stock, but the weapons that you do have are very interesting, like weapons based off the pre-release trailers. Scout's nail gun, Demoman's Demo Knight, and Spy's tranquilizer gun are all here. There is also items left in from vanilla like the Kritzkrieg and the Sandwich. And there are some brand new items that we haven't seen before, like the Pyro's double barrel shotgun, because they just have that now. Or the RPG for Soldier, which is easily my favorite weapon in the mod. Pairing it with the shotgun allows you to easily combo light classes at close range, but to counter that, fighting people at longer ranges isn't really that viable. And last item I would like to mention is the Jump Pad PDA, which is my second favorite item in the mod. It replaces the Engineer's 2 teleporters with 2 jump pads, which when effectively used can open up a ton of new opportunities for the Engineer and his team, opening up new routes or allowing faster rollouts. And it also summons the soul of Gianni Magigrano.
Jump pad coming right up. Building a jump pad. Guys, please don't spray sexy images. Mom checks my PC.
All of this comes together to make, I wouldn't say a better experience, but it feels more cohesive than vanilla TF2, to me at least. Now, I'm fully aware that the conversation about TF2's more out there cosmetics is done to death, so I'm not gonna drone on about this for too long. I prefer TF2's art direction before they for the most part just gave up and decided anything goes. Not to say that anything that has come out of TF2 recently looks stinky and gross and I don't like it. Hell, I don't think TF2 has it that bad compared to other games that sacrifice their artistic intent for the sake of collabs and attracting furries. I also like a lot of those games anyways. Damn it! Okay, so what I'm trying to say is TF2C keeping a lot of TF2's original art style is cool and I like it. The presentation for the mod is really nice, which especially applies to its 2 new game modes, VIP and 4 Teams. So I would assume some of you know that TF2 was originally going to have the VIP game mode from TFC, before it was scrapped and the basic idea was recycled for payload. Well, TF2C brings it back, civilian and all, and how does it play? Eh. In all honesty, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I can see why it got replaced with payload in the final game. I think the character of the civilian is neat though, but past that, I'm not a big fan of this game mode. But 4 teams! Now, you may have noticed in the loadout screen there is now yellow and green teams. Those are for TF2C's 4 team maps, which are my personal favorite feature from the mod. From my admittedly pretty limited experience on the one map I played, it was fun! The basic goal is to capture the control point at your spawn, and deny the other teams their control points for the highest score. I think the idea of 4 teams with 6 people has a lot of potential for very casual fun, and I am looking forward to that being expanded upon in future updates. And that's pretty much TF2 Classic. Overall, a very fun TF2 mod that recaptures the experience of playing TF2 in the early 2000s. But you know what? I've actually been hiding a secret from you guys. I actually hate TF2! You know why? It's because the movement is too slow, and I know what some of you nerds are about to say. What about the scout? He moves very fast and has a funny double jump. And the soldier and demo guy, they can jump around with explosives. Isn't that enough speed for you? No, it's not enough. Scout moves too slow, and I suck at rocket jumping. It's not enough. I need to fly like the wind. I need to unleash my full potential as a gamer. I need...
This is crack.
Ability incoming.
Open Fortress is a TF2 mod based off of a reverse engineering project of TF2 source code, with the team having plans of releasing the code for other modders to use. But as of writing, the reverse engineered code is still not public. And we will get to why that is in a bit. Much like TF2 Classic, it still has the vanilla TF2 gameplay. But you are not playing Open Fortress for the TF2 part. You are playing Open Fortress for its deathmatch mode. And I cannot recommend anything else more.
Take it.
Fuck! In deathmatch mode, you play as the mercenary, essentially a blank slate for you to drip out with. And in Open Fortress, there's plenty of drip. You have a wide variety of options to customize the mercenary with, and each item I feel works off each other pretty well. So it's pretty hard to make something look really bad. Like this. After you're done making the mercenary look like your idealized self, it's time to hop into a match and play a game. And how is it? It's peak. Okay, to be more specific, Open Fortress Deathmatch is based very similarly to arena FPS games like Quake and Unreal, which means running around in fairly vertical arenas, memorizing the spawns of weapons and power-ups to get the upper hand, and killing everyone. Do that enough times and you win. Pretty simple to wrap your head around, but much like other arena FPS games, it has a high-ass skill ceiling, where you will be spending a lot of time fighting your way up there, getting skill issued along the way, and along that way, you're probably going to want to learn how to b-hop. First of all, unlike other Source games, b-hopping is automated, so all you have to do is hold down the spacebar, and you've got hops. Which leaves increasing your momentum as your primary concern. Strafing can help, landing on slopes can give you a great boost, but the coolest and base way is explosives. Every explosive weapon in the game can be used to propel yourself, really effectively at that. Which leads me into talking about the weapons, which I have some issues with. Now, I wouldn't say any of the weapons are overpowered, but there is some weapons that I think are underpowered though, like the revolver, which in my experience just feels like a downgrade to the default pistol, which is actually a surprisingly viable weapon. You can even pick up enemy pistols and dual wield them, which I think is a really cool mechanic. There's also the double-barreled shotgun, which has a long reload time as you would expect, but the problem is you need to get into kissing range to do any meaningful amount of damage. Besides those two, I don't really have any problems with the weapons in this game. They're all pretty balanced, they all have great weapon feel, and dynamite jumping is badass. So yeah, either these weapons suck or I'm bad at the game. Anyways, power-ups. Most of them are pretty standard. There's one that gives you more health, there's one that makes you go really fast, and there's also one that, get this, lets you do more damage. But there's also more unique ones as well, like Berserk, Invisibility, a jetpack, and there are also the power weapons. The quad launcher is neat, the saw launcher is very funny. There is also the BFG. It is called the GIB in-game, but you can't fool me. I know what you are. All of these are really fun to use, but also really powerful. So they're made a pretty big focal point of the maps. Now, I haven't played on all of them, so I can't say this applies to every map, but from the ones I've played, they're all really good. They feel really nice to run around in, and have great art direction. Excluding the maps that haven't had a proper art pass at the time of making this video. And on top of the original maps, there is also some map ports from TF2, like 2 Fort and Harvest that have been slightly altered and have been given a new coat of paint to separate them from their vanilla counterparts. And there is also just Crossfire from Half-Life 1, because why not? They even kept in the original map's gimmick, which easily makes this the funniest map in the game.
There's a bomb strapped to my chest! It's gonna explode in 3 seconds!
Everything I've just discussed comes together to make my favorite TF2 mod. It is clearly a project that has had a ton of passion poured into it, which has been worked on by some of the most talented and dedicated people in the Source Engine community. And I would recommend this to any TF2 fan or any fan of classic FPS games. And a very high recommend to any person that has made it to round 47 in Ultra Kill Cyber Grind. But unfortunately, there is actually one game-breaking issue that makes Open Fortress unplayable and garbage. The game's dead and buried like Margaret Thatcher. So yeah, this is not only a problem with Open Fortress, but pretty much with every multiplayer Source Engine mod. Nobody plays them. Like, TF2 Classic pretty consistently has players online from my experience, but Open Fortress, especially during the night, just becomes a ghost town.
There's nothing.
Now, some of you may have just thought of a solution to this. Why not put them on Steam? Valve has been welcoming mods like Black Mesa, Entropy Zero, and so why not put Open Fortress and TF2 Classic on Steam? Well, funny story about that. Back in 2021, both the teams for Open Fortress and TF2 Classic were contacted by Valve, and they were not happy, because their use of TF2's leaked source code and the reverse engineered code does not fall under their software agreement. Fortunately, Valve was willing to work with both teams to set up a Steam release for both projects. So obviously, both teams accepted this, and on September 10th, 2021, both Open Fortress and TF2 Classic were taken down with promises to bring them back up in the near future. So far, everything sounds fine. Both mods should be getting a Steam release, right? Well, unfortunately, we are talking about Valve here.
The main thing that we're working on right now after we get the orange box out the door is going to be episode 3, so we can finish.
So they didn't get any further responses from Valve. So they responded by bringing both games back up less than a year later and just hoping for the best. And as of making this video, nothing has changed. Both games are still up and there's no sign of them being ported to Steam. Which really sucks. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Valve. Valve has easily made some of the best games of all time. Half-Life is one of my favorite game series ever. And even now, Half-Life Alyx is my favorite VR game. And Deadlock, despite being in active development, it is easily the best MOBA I've ever played. Which may not mean much coming from me, but League of Legends doesn't have a funny gargoyle character. So League of Legends takes the L yet again. Besides those, CS2 is the only real exception here. Even then, I feel like it's mostly fine, really. I feel like its main problem is just not having enough content to justify replacing CSGO. But the reality is, no matter how much I praise Valve, at the end of the day, they're a company filled with businessmen that do not care about games or gamers. Because, as we all know, gamers are the most oppressed group of them all. So it really sucks to see multiple projects either get taken down or neglected by Valve. And I will remind you, Hunt Down to Freeman is still on Steam with a price tag to this very day. Let that sink in.
Die.
Now at this point, if you're still watching the video, you may be wondering, if Open Fortress and TF2 Classic aren't on Steam, then how do I play them? Wonder no longer, random YouTube viewer. I have the answers you seek. First, you must have Source SDK based 2013 multiplayer installed on Steam for both mods to work. Then go to the respective mod's website and go to their download pages. Both of them have the option to manually install them or use a downloader. Manual download is pretty simple. When either game is installed, open up the zip folder and put the game in your Source mods folder, which should be in this directory. But you can use the installer to automate this process instead. Windows may flag them as a virus, but just ignore that. And finally, when either game is in the Source mods folder, simply turn off Steam and make sure every instance of Steam is off using Task Manager, then simply relaunch Steam and they should be in your library. So yeah, that's how you install Open Fortress and TF2 Classic. I would highly recommend checking both of them out. They are both well-crafted mods by some of the best people in the Source modding community, with a shared love of a 17-year-old game. And if you're only going to play one of them, please play Open Fortress. I need people to see how incredible this game is and experience the ecstasy that it puts you in. Please ignore the fact that I compared this game to Crack earlier. And no matter if you're going to be playing these games after you're done watching this video, or go watch some more high quality slop from your favorite slop producer, always remember this. The gaming don't stop until we drop. No, wait, watch where you're going! Hi, welcome to the end of the video. I'm gonna try and keep this little outro bit as short as possible, so you can follow me on Twitter. I wouldn't recommend it. I'm barely going to use it from now on. I'm going to be on Blue Sky now. I'm still going to provide some YouTube updates and keep it around if I need any help with YouTube. But when it comes to stuff like my art and any other stuff I'm working on, it'll be on my Blue Sky from now on. And there's also my Newgrounds for the rest of my art, and that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to support me, comment, and subscribe or whatever. It helps out a ton. And thank you. Next video shouldn't take another year. Hopefully.